Hey guys, Tater here, welcome to Tater Games. Tired as ever, as you can probably tell, the eyes give it away. Today we're going to be discussing the pros and cons and the greatness and the badness, of course, to all the one-room GameJam games. Now, apologies that this video is a little bit late, it should not be kept that long, but unfortunately it did, because Tater is busy. Tater can't cater to everything that you guys want. First up, Room 303, what a lovely, aesthetically pleasing looking 3D kind of horror genre game. And of course, if you do like to play this sort of stuff, I would recommend you going and playing it. This, of course, had many YouTubers playing it, which I think was a great thing and partially the reason why the marketing kind of side of it went so well. You see, they got a lot of votes and a lot of downloads in comparison to everybody else, and it just kind of goes to show how you market your thing. Maybe it was just all a fluke, but I'm pretty sure they had something to do with it, and very much exposing themselves using, you know, all the social media platforms that we are have available to us. As I said, it's a first-person horror game with a little bit of a psychological horror-y kind of twist to it, and it's kind of a good twist. Not gonna lie. Because of course, lying is the devil, and we have absolutely no devils here. Spoiler alert, but you go around the room trying to tidy up the room and then you realise that something is a little bit fishy over here. I won't actually spoil it too much, I kind of want people to go and play it, so if you are interested in stuff like psychological horrors and things like that, really should get rid of these tongs, then I recommend that you go and play it. Now, of course, Tater's opinions, the game is way too short now. Of course, you only had 7 days to do it, mate. We understand 100%. There are a few little nitpicky things that I have to say. Unfortunately, there's no clear indication of what you're supposed to do other than the voice telling you to fix this, and of course, even that is a little bit of an iffy thing. What I mean by iffy is that although it says you to fix this, you have to go around looking at objects, and of course, you cannot interact with every single object. Giving some sort of hint or indication would be a better way to do this. As in a very terrible example would be like, oh, maybe you should look at the television. Of course, after my own game, I was looking at a lot of the Let's Plays, and even they were having the same troubles that I was having, which was something was just not communicated clearly enough for you to do, other than fix this. So you have to kind of go around and explore, and of course the game will take about 5 minutes once you kind of get into the rhythm of knowing what you're doing and just looking at items, waiting for that dot to appear. Given the gameplay was actually very smooth, of course, using that first-person controller, love the stuff. However, first-person controller for Unity has this weird little glitchy thing where you kind of walk even though you stop walking, and that kind of plays around with your reactiveness. Not that it's a very reactive game, but just something to keep in mind for the future. I'm the Tong Lord. Tong Lord. That's just my general feedback for it. Other than that, the music was great. The voice acting could use a little bit of work, and that's basically because I don't like overly edited things. Personally, it wasn't my favorite game in the entire GameJam, but you got pretty much everything right, and you definitely conveyed it well to the audience, seeing as the audience A, voted for you, and 2, a lot of Let's Plays coming in, which is really good. So thank you very much, congratulations, and of course you guys won the vote, and you also gave us a lot of exposure, so thank you very much. Tong Lord thanks you. Coming up next, an absolutely fabulous game that I had the pleasure to be a part of. The game was called Number 2, and it was of course based around poop, because why not? I did the sound and absolutely everything you hear except for the dialogue, which is not mine. Obviously there were a lot of bugs in this, we'll just throw the bugs aside because it's 7 days, and of course I'm not criticizing anybody on problems that they have with their actual game. It's more conceptual theme and whether or not this game will actually do well if you continue to work on it. So the gameplay worked really well, and it's something that we've seen all before, so we're all very familiar with this type of top-down game into the gungeon type style. If you want to nitpick the gameplay, it doesn't actually work to seal the door, and here's why. Now for each wave the poop monsters come out, and of course one of the mechanics is actually to barricade the door, but all that does is postpone the poops coming out. That doesn't exactly benefit you in many ways, so there's not much point in barricading the door, because the same amount of monsters are going to come out and you need to kill them in the exact same way that you usually kill them. Now the only thing I can really think of benefiting that is to set a trap outside to try and kill as many as you can once the barricade kind of closes, but at the same time even that is a little bit of an iffy mechanic that I'm not too sure would have worked well with the game. Now that of course is all conceptual. The way that it was made was brilliant. I don't think there was an actual flaw in the gameplay at all. Of course there was just one little bug with the gameplay, which was everything was actually moving towards the door, so kudos to you for not letting that bug you. Artwork, oh, we can all admit that this had some great animations and great artwork into it, from a personal standpoint. Then of course, music and sound, no flaws there whatsoever. Except the Foley was a little bit quiet, I'll give it that. The Foley was actually, no, the Foley was too quiet to the point where you can't actually hear the footsteps and all that type of stuff. Which is terrible, Tater. Bad. Other than that, great game, had a lot of fun playing it, and very glad to see the result and the way that my audio was used. Thank you guys. Next up was A Story for Another Time, coming in 3rd place. These guys did a fabulous job in my opinion. If you guys made all those 3D models on the week, I am very impressed. Love the low poly style. The only thing I'd say is that the first person camera, of course, the field of view is a little bit too narrow, of course, and you can't see much of the other stuff. And it was very similar to Room 303, actually. We have to do things in a specific order. The difference is, in this one, I noticed that, and they also say at the very end, there are 7 endings. Now, that's actually a really cool thing, because, you know, 7 endings. That's a lot of work. Kind of figured out 3 of them. I don't know how to cut the wires for the guitar, but I managed to get into the backpack, which was the first way that I completed it. Of course, you can get out the window, and you can also get out the door. There seem to be 2 keys lying around for those 2. I have no clue how to do the rest. Not necessarily a bad thing. The concept and stuff like that is pretty cool. You just need to do things in a specific order, and you also need to interact with the environment. The darts was a really cool thing as well. I love the way that you displayed those darts. In order to get up, it just teleports you up to the very top, but at the same time, using that first-person controller can have a little bit of problems. For example, trying not to fall off the bed after stopping at the very edge, but then of course, for some reason, and I don't know why, Unity's first-person controller default will just continue to move like 1 more step. It's really weird, I don't like it. Also, the songs and stuff you used, of course, are copyright-free songs, but for obvious reasons, I am not putting them in this showcase, because I'm not too sure where the licenses stand with that sort of stuff. But I've heard all of them before, which is great for familiarity, but not so great for putting in a showcase. Again, understandable, you only had a certain amount of days, fair enough. Also, an incredibly easy fix is to load the scene again, because I noticed that you have to Alt F4 in order to play again, and of course when you say the 7 endings, I'm like, whoa, we have to play again. Moving right on to number 4, this point and click puzzle game. Excellent work. I can tell you guys did a lot to the story, the writing and stuff like that, so you guys actually had a very nice story and so much information on the characters within the game. Like 4 from each character, of course, trying to do certain tasks in a very specific order, but of course this was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. It took me about 20 minutes to get it right, and most of it was actually experimenting. I didn't have time to go and read all the bios, especially if the time is counting down and you think that, oh, I have to do this, and then of course you're trying to wonder what on earth works and how to actually manipulate the entire game. Of course, using the point and click features were just amazing, and all the lever animations and changes and stuff were so fluid and so perfect. There's not much else to do. The inspection could have had a little more description, but I can tell you guys focused a lot on the way that the story was told, the dialogue, the writing and stuff like that, because there was a lot of biography for each character. Of course, selecting through the 4 characters and different sides of the room for some reason. I have no clue why that is, and of course getting out these test subjects to try and perform tasks on specific items. I had to switch through the room a lot, and I didn't exactly enjoy that much, especially from the fact that you can actually turn the room using by clicking any lever to change it to that room, and of course the test subject, you had to put one away and then get one out, which you could have just made just switch, but that's just a very picky thing from my behalf. Don't take it to heart. Other than that, the look of the game was just amazing. I couldn't exactly tell what the objects were in the rooms. They kind of looked a little bit weird each time, but you know, who am I to complain? Also, after using the trial and error method and getting so close to finishing it, and the only reason I knew it was close was because I went onto your page, and then of course you had instructions on how to do the entire game there, which was great because I was actually only missing that final step, which is pretty cool. Love the concept of it, love the point and click adventure, and definitely reminded me a little bit of a 2D Five Nights at Freddy's in a way, except you weren't really waiting for anything. You had to be active the entire time, which is where Five Nights at Freddy's kind of fails, because I don't think looking through a camera is very active other than just seeing things. In your case, you guys actually had a lot of work put into it, and I really appreciate what you guys did. It was a really great game. Thank you very much for your submission. Finally, in 5th place. Now, I know that a lot of the games actually had an escape the room kind of vibe where you had to do specific tasks and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. This one took a few mechanics that I have never actually seen before. For example, shrinking and growing. You also tricked me with that little drop at the end. You sneaky buggers. Anyway, it was fairly simple. Only took about a minute or 2 minutes to complete if you screwed up the first time, but you pretty much go through the entire level trying to figure out what to do next. By default, I kind of got the gist of what to do. It was pretty easy. One thing you guys, I think, did better than almost everyone else in the Game Jam was how reactive your game was, and I don't know if that's just not using Unity that made it that way. I noticed that when I pressed up, it went up instantly, which is a strange thing to comment on, because reactiveness of the keyboard and the eyes, you know, is kind of a very important thing. And I noticed in a lot of games, there's a little bit of delay or just laggy, not laggy, it just took a while to do things. I think it just kind of plays a part in how fast-paced the game actually was. Of course, doing all the puzzles, very, very clean cut, I would say that. And of course, you know where to go once something happens, and thank goodness for all those sheets that tell you what to do, because I have no clue. That sacrifice animation was just the best, like the way that you actually collide with it and then kind of shrink, and also take the blood effect out and all of that type of stuff. Whoopsie. Point is, it was great. It would be lovely to turn that into a full-length game, because I know it takes a very simple and very common platformer standpoint, but like if you were to work on this a little bit more, maybe not make it that kind of do this, then do that, then do this, and make it kind of give it a bit more freedom would be a great thing to do. And that's the only real feedback I have for you. I'm not really got any other problems with this game. It's pretty good. That's pretty much it, guys. Those are the top 5 games, and they're very, very lovely, all of them. But of course, every submission that I played, which was not every submission, because some of them had these weird installer things, and I just don't trust installers. I'm sorry, guys. You guys could be ratting me or doing all that type of stuff. So some of them I didn't play. I'll admit to that. I really want to shout out a specific game, so I'm sorry to everybody else, but this is the one shout out I would like to say, because when I played it for the first time, I was actually blown away. As in, it was an idea I'd never thought about before, which was kind of running a hotel within a certain amount of days, and you had to do all this stuff, and it was so polished, so refined. It was a WebGL version, so it's really easy to go and play. Of course, links for that and all the other games are in the description below, but it's called One Room, and I think that this guy deserved to be in the showcase just because of what he did, and he was nearly there. He came 6th place, which I was hoping that he'd get a little bit higher. I don't know, there's just something about managing, micromanaging, and I love stuff like that, and how he took a different approach to what a lot of other people did, which was escape the room or survive the room. He did a sort of, you know, how well can you do? Just the entire game seems so polished, and he seemed like he put so much work into it that I really want to praise him. But we can't do a showcase for everything. I don't know, just the way he did it, the originality, all that type of stuff, and the perfection that he put into it, the polish was just brilliant. And I really think, this is my feedback to you, I really think that if you were to continue developing that and put it on mobile app store, Play Store, it would actually do really well. That's just my opinion. Not guaranteeing anything just yet. I really need to put these tongs away. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the showcase. If you want to check out any of the games featured in the showcase and more, you can go down to the link in the description. There should be quite a lot of stuff there. And of course, if you want to join in the next GameJam, follow me on Twitter or go to our Discord channel, because I'll be announcing stuff there, plus also YouTube, so subscribe. And of course, subscribe for big tongs. And subscribe for little tongs as well.